Well, good morning and welcome home to the Village Baptist Church. My name is Richard, and it's my joy simply to say Merry Christmas and welcome. We're grateful that you're here today. If you're a guest, thanks for being with us today. Our theme this month is All I Want for Christmas. And we've been dealing with different things related to whether it's joy, this week, love. Next week, we'll talk about hope and then peace. And just think about this. All I want for Christmas is love. In fact, something I know about your family members and your classmates and your coworkers and your neighbors, I may not know their name, but here's what I know about them. Every one of us are looking for acceptance, looking for love, and looking for significance. If you think about that from the song that we just heard, and one of my favorites, by the way, is, we can offer back what we have to the Lord, and it is significant as we play our drum, whatever that may be, and how you march to your drum beat per se. And we offer that back to the Lord as a gift to Him. We are significant in Christ's eyes. In fact, we've been accepted by Him, and He came to show us His love. And so this morning, you're going to hear different segments and descriptors and songs that communicate the love of God. And I trust that you'll not only receive that love, but that you'll share it with those around you. And so thanks for being here. Let's give our best in worship this morning as our choir and teams lead us.
Joyful, only nature. I'll get right to the point. Lots of people, they say I'm too old to believe in you. Maybe they're right, but it's Christmas Eve. And even though I may have waited too long, I'm hoping that this could be the perfect time to renew my belief. And so that brings me to why I'm coming to you. There's several reasons, actually. First, I'm not feeling Christmas. So I was hoping that you could see fit to deliver just a little extra Christmas spirit my way this year. I've tried listening to the Pandora Christmas station, and I've helped put up the tree. I thought that would help, but so far, it hasn't. See, it's been a complicated year. I don't know if you get the news up there, but I've always heard that you can see how everybody acts. So I guess that's better than CNN. I'm sure you know all about the elections. It's remarkable how angry and mean people got. They said things that should have gotten their mouths washed out with soap, and did things that probably should have earned them a timeout. And besides the election, there's all this rioting and terrorism and hatred and fear. People are arguing and boycotting and screaming at each other about politics and about people not standing up for the anthem, and about jobs and refugees, and sometimes what's happening on The Walking Dead. I know this isn't exactly Christmas cheer, but I wonder, why can't we all just be a little nicer to each other? Can you help with that? And that's just the stuff going on out there. And here, well, I need your help. Sometimes I get scared and I get worried. And sometimes I get mean and I'm not very compassionate. And sometimes I forget to look at people the way you look at them. Now, I'm old enough to know that you don't just grant wishes, Jesus. It's not like when I was little and I would sit on Santa's lap and I would tell him what I wanted for Christmas. You're more than that, way more. You are more than I could wrap my brain around. You are infinitely more. You came here, you grew up, you lived your life, and you worked, and you taught, and you did everything the right way. You even gave up your life to show us a better way, the best way. So I know that you must love us an awful lot. Help me, Jesus. I think our world is messier than it was the night in the stable that you were born. So all I want for Christmas this year are eyes to see what you see, ears to hear what you hear, a mouth that will speak words from you, hands that will get dirty doing things for people in need, and feet that will go where you send them. But most of all, Jesus, give me a heart like yours. It's Christmas, and I don't care what anyone says. I believe in you, and I believe in miracles.
Shines with a promise, Emmanuel. glory. Let there be peace. Let there be peace. Singing glory, glory. Let there be peace. Let it start in me. Let there be peace. Let it start in me.
Been a while since we talked. Well, that's how it is with your kids, right? Never talk as much as you like. Used to, they'd hang on every word, every joke, every story, every song. We had some amazing times. But then they got a little older, a little wiser, as one of them put it. He said he didn't know everything, but he knew enough to know that my ways, my values, my philosophies of life were a little too, well, basically they wanted their freedom. They're my kids, so I gave them what they wanted. And little by little, I watched them change. They pushed back on the things I taught them. They lost heart. They tried so hard to steer clear of me. I wanted nothing more than to make things right between us, so I kept doing things. I called, I sent letters, I even sent messages through their friends, but nothing. No response. Was it that they thought the distance between us was too great? Were they ashamed? You know, it doesn't really matter. When they were kids, I used to tell them all the time, I love you no matter what. Got to be our little thing. I would say, I love you, and they would finish it no matter what. They got so tired of hearing it, they would just roll their eyes when I said it sometimes, but I wanted to be clear to them that there was nothing they could do to make me stop loving them. And that thing I said never stopped being true. So, I'm packing up and I'm going to them. I'm not taking any presents, just the gift of making things right. There's nothing that could keep me from my kids. Not the past, not the future, nothing. Nothing. I'm forgetting all that stuff in the past. And that relationship we used to have, well, I won't have that again. That's okay because I want a new relationship with them. After this trip, nothing's going to be the same between us. That's a good thing. New beginnings, that's what I'm all about. That's my hope for this Christmas. New beginning with my kids.
Unto us is born a Savior. Christ whose glory fills the skies, Christ the everlasting light, the Son of righteousness arise and triumph o'er these shades of night. Come thou long-awaited one, in the fullness of your love, and loose this heart bound up by shame, and I will never be the same. So here I wait in hope of you, all my soul's longing through and through, and day spring from on high be near, and day star in my heart appear. Dark and cheerless is the morn, until your love in me is born, and joyless is the evening song, until Emmanuel has come. So here I wait in hope of you, all my soul's longing through and through, and day spring from on high be near, and day star in my heart appear. So here I wait in hope of you, all my soul's longing through and through, and day spring from on high be near, and day star in my heart appear.
I'm phoning it in this year. You heard me. That's right. I'm phoning in Christmas. Me, the husband, the kids, the dog. I mean, just look at that dog over there. Don't even care, laying around without his Christmas sweater on. This year, we are taking the path of least resistance. Yes, sir, our sugar cookies will be rolled out thanks to the kind people at Toll House. And don't go thinking that the whipped cream on those pies is done by hand either. Time to let that dream die a humane death. Give it permission to go into the light. It's okay. If there are bows on our gifts this year, they'll probably be stick-ons. And frankly, I respect you too much to pretend they're going to match the wrapping paper either. It's just that we've decided we can't duplicate Christmas the way you see it in the movies. All that winter wonderlandy chestnut roasting. I mean, come on. They've had script writers and makeup artists and hairstylists. They've had countless retakes and quiet on the set and an entire production team to make that happen. Meanwhile, I'm over here with a house full of characters that insist on going off script. Now, don't get me wrong. I love Christmas. Always have. And don't go thinking I got that Grinch thing either, where my heart is 2 sizes too small, and I have no plans to steal anyone's Christmas. In fact, I think Christmas is one of the main events of the entire year. It's just that there's this family here in town. 3 kids. And a few nights ago, they found out that their mom was killed in a late-night car wreck right here, right now, at Christmas. And I can't stop thinking about them. I see the photos and I feel that sick feeling in the pit of my stomach, and I can feel the sting of the tears in my eyes. If there was ever a safe zone, a home base where tragedy shouldn't be allowed to touch us, it should be Christmas. Have you ever heard people sing "Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas" or "Home for the Holidays" and just feel like the lyrics are making fun of you? If it's a gut punch for me, then what about the people who've had life and Christmas as they knew it altered forever? The fact is, some people feel like Christmas has been stolen from them. I can only imagine that with every carol, every tradition, it just makes the ache in their bones scream louder. Like all the trappings of the party have been bagged up, carried off, never to be returned. I guess that's why the extras don't seem quite as important to us this year. Now, don't get me wrong, I love Christmas lights. The more the merrier. In fact, I want my whole house covered. Seriously, y'all, I want the brightness to almost be offensive to your retinas. And Christmas trees, the bigger, the better. I want my star to scrape a dent in the top of my ceiling. Oh, and if you're making those peanut butter cookie things with the Hershey Kiss on top, I'll take a dozen, just for me. It's just that if that's Christmas, if that's all there is, then there's some people who will never want to think of it that way again, you know? But if Christmas is about God, a God who sees our mess, a God who knows how much hurt there can be in a world wrecked with sin, a God who sent his son Jesus to be born in a filthy stable so that pain, sin, even death itself doesn't have the final word in our eternal conversation, if that's Christmas, then doesn't it make every twinkling light seem a little less offensive and more like a beacon of hope? That every tear shed in song is a little less hopeless and more like an act of worship. For a heart-shattered family not far from here, there is no other option. Either Christmas is about the hope we have in Jesus, or it's about nothing that matters much, right? In the middle of the mess, neck deep in pain, that's where real Christmas means more than it ever has, especially when the only joy you can find in the world is because the Lord has come. God sent an answer, a game changer. Christmas is the promise that even the ugliest things will be made beautiful in time because it's the day hope came for us. Isn't it the most perfect thing you ever did see? Joy to the world. The Lord has come. He's come, and he's coming again. I think the Grinch had it right. Eventually, maybe Christmas, perhaps, means a little bit more.
It's
Today you've heard the story of Christmas, perhaps through song or through a storyline. And it's all been designed just to communicate one message, and that is that you're loved and you're not alone. That God loved you so much that He came to identify with you in every way, and He did so through sending His own Son, Jesus, to come to earth as a baby. And then as He grew and then taught for 3 years and trained disciples, and He taught us how to live and showed us a better way. Then ultimately He fulfilled Old Testament prophecy as He became our sacrificial lamb, the permanent sacrifice for our sin. As He died on the cross for us. And you know, Christmas is the beginning of that conversation, but you can't talk about Christmas unless you put it in the context of Easter. And so you have the birth of Christ, that's the gift. You have the death of Christ, that's the payment and the sacrifice. But here's what defines Christianity from world religions. Anybody can die for you. And there are people who have. There are people who have died for your freedom. But Jesus not only predicted His death, He predicted His resurrection. And He fulfilled both. And you see, our God, the Christian God, is not dead. And this is what separates Christianity from world religions, because all other religions is typically it's man pursuing God. This one in Christianity, God pursues man. And typically in world religions, it's man trying to be good enough to earn favor with God. Christianity says you can never be good enough on your own. The only way is through Jesus. And so Jesus paid the price once and for all. And then Jesus rose again to prove that He is God. I mean, think about it. Who else has ever rose again from the dead? I think I'd put my stock in that God, wouldn't you? And so this is the message of Christmas, that He loved you enough to come to identify with you, to be just like that father that's going back after his kids. Say, hey, I want to be in relationship with you. It's time for new beginnings. Today, would you receive the gift of Christmas? I'm not talking about some intellectual assent to a belief system. I'm talking about, would you receive the gift of His love? To know that you are loved by God and that you are not alone in what you're going through. That you'd receive the gift of His love, to know that you can be a follower of Jesus. And it doesn't necessarily promise peace and prosperity in this life. It promises purpose in this life and being a part of a family for all of eternity. And I want to invite you today to come home to Jesus, to come home this Christmas. So right where you're seated, maybe you'd pray a prayer with me, just silently, as from your heart to God's heart. You'd pray something like this: Dear God, as best I know how, today I receive the gift of Christmas. I believe Jesus is who He says He is. I ask Jesus to come to be the forgiver, the leader of my life, my Savior, my Lord. And God, I make that confession by faith, trusting You to do Your part. Now give me courage to live for You. Friend, the moment you make that your personal confession, God does His part. And I want to invite each and every one of you to find the Connect card that's in the pew rack in front of you. If you need to, you can pass those down the aisle or whatever. Or if there's not enough, then just hang on and listen to me. On this Connect card, you can register your name and give us information, whatever you'd like. But this says down there, I have questions about my faith. If you're still wrestling, you're still examining this Christian faith, it's okay. It's a safe place. We'd love to sit down and engage with you in those conversations and help answer some of those questions from people who have asked those very questions ourselves. You could let us know that and we can be in touch. Or maybe today you just prayed with me and you asked Christ to be your Savior, whether you're watching online or in this room. Say, today I pray to begin a relationship with Jesus. Or I need a pastor to contact me, and you can tell us why. On the back, it tells you about how taking your next steps. Maybe today you're choosing to become a follower of Jesus, or maybe your next step is to go public by identifying with Jesus through baptism. We're going to do that on Christmas Eve. Maybe God's calling you to join this local church, be a part of this faith community, or to serve in some capacity. We'd encourage you just to fill that out. And then in a few moments, our offering plates will be passed. You can drop those in. But I want you to spend the next time, this next song, just simply contemplating your response to God's gift of His love. And I pray that you'll have courage to respond by faith. So I want you to listen to this song and enjoy it and help worship, but may you respond to what the Lord is prompting in your heart today.
in sin and error pining till he appeared and the soul felt its worth. The weary world rejoices, for yonder breaks a new and glorious morn. On your knees, oh, hear the angel voices. When Christ was born, all night divine, all night Truly he taught us to love one another. His law is love, and his God